At the start of the drama, we see a girl named Zhou Xiao. She was writing a detective novel on her laptop because she loved reading and writing a lot, and she wanted to become a writer. On the other hand, we see the male lead, Zhao Fan, who is a student in the forensic department of a university. He was doing some work in his lab. Meanwhile, Zhou Xiao was talking on the phone with her best friend Kai Yasi, who had gone abroad to study. Kai Yasi starts asking, "Guess where I am?" Just then, Zhou Xiao quickly goes and opens the door because she knew that he was right outside. She asks Kai Yasi, "Where is my gift?" So he hands her a candy. In the next scene, we see Zhao Fan talking to Professor Hu outside the station. He had come here to pick up a few friends, one of whom was Zhou Xiao, but he wasn't able to get in contact with them. So Zhao Fan calls her personally, but she doesn't receive his call. Meanwhile, Zhou Xiao was comfortably coming in a car, writing her detective novels. She sees many missed calls on her phone, but by the time she calls back, her phone switches off. After a long time, she reaches the station and meets Zhao Fan. As soon as she meets him, she starts rambling and praises her own intelligence a lot. Zhao Fan says, "You are an hour late." Zhou Xiao says, "Since it's already so late, a little more is fine. I'll eat something." But when she goes to eat something, her phone switches off again, so she asks Zhao Fan for some money. Then, the two of them leave to go to the university together. Zhao Fan was reading a report on his phone, and Zhou Xiao was watching him from behind. Suddenly, her seat goes all the way down and they come very close to each other. This moment is very awkward for both of them. The driver explains the car seat is broken. Then Zhao Fan goes and sits in the back. Both of them reach the university. The first person Zhou Xiao meets there is Kai Yasi. Then Zhou Xiao, holding an umbrella, is heading towards the admission room for her admission when her hair gets stuck in the umbrella. Despite many attempts, she couldn't get it out. Just then, Zhao Fan arrives, helps her, and leaves from there. They all now reach the registration room. Here, Zhao Fan meets his best friend, Jia, who liked him, but it was clear he had no interest in her. Then, Zhou Xiao comes there and gets in the registration line. There, she sees Zhao Fan sitting right in front and thinks, "Why am I meeting this person again and again since this morning?" Just then, she meets her friend, Ling Tao there. There was a lot of time until her turn, so she starts reading a book, but its story was very emotional, so she starts crying while reading. She was crying even at the time of registration. Zhao Fan, sitting right there, was looking at her again and again. Jia also finds this very strange. Then, Zhou Xiao comes for lunch with her friend, where she tells her friends, "I am writing a detective novel about a forensic student." So her friend suggests, "You could also go to the forensic department to get some information." Because of this, she secretly goes into the forensic department at night. Just then, someone comes there, so she hides under the desk. Actually, it was Zhao Fan who had come there. He recognizes Zhou Xiao's bag hidden underneath and thinks, "Why am I meeting her again and again today?" Then he tells her, "Leave this department because you are not allowed to be here." The next day, their military training starts, where their leader was also Zhao Fan, and he makes everyone run. Due to the running, they get very tired. Therefore, the next day, Zhou Xiao and Ling Tao make a plan. "We will both pretend to be sick and stay in the hostel." But during the training, when they both pretend to be sick, Zhao Fan's leader catches their act. That's why their leader tells them, "Do 30 more push-ups." While doing push-ups, both of them get very, very tired. Just then, Sayasi comes there and says, "Let them go. I will do the rest of the push-ups for them." But Zhao Fan doesn't let him do that. Therefore, Zhou Xiao and Ling Tao have to do their push-ups themselves. Then everyone comes for lunch, where Zhao Fan is having lunch with Jia. On the other side, Kayasi is also having lunch with Zhou Xiao's roommates. There, he jokingly starts showing everyone an ugly photo of Zhou Xiao. Just then, Zhao Fan passes by and sees that ugly photo of Zhou Xiao. Seeing it, he laughs a little. Then at night, when Zhou Xiao comes to the room with her friends, one of their roommates is behaving very strangely, so they take her to the hospital. After her checkup, the doctor tells them she had consumed a lot of one medicine. That's why she is behaving like this. After this, we see that today was the last day of their military training. Today, they all had to find an object after being divided into groups. After some time, their task is completed, and Jia is giving a speech there when it is written behind the screen. "Your speech is absolutely terrible," meaning someone had hacked the screen and done this. Everyone starts thinking about who could have done this. The task of finding out who hacked the screen during the speech is given to Zhao Fan. After this, Zhou Xiao had come to join a literature club. Here, Zhao Fan had come to find that hacker. Zhou Xiao doesn't get selected for that club, so she starts going to another exhibition and enjoys it a lot there too. Zhao Fan was walking right behind her and was smiling. watching her enjoy herself. Even after interviewing for many clubs, Zhou Xiao doesn't get selected anywhere. She comes to a restaurant for lunch. There she meets a friend of hers. Zhou Xiao tells her, "I didn't get selected for any club." To this, she says, "You should talk to Zhao Fan about this." Just then, Zhao Fan also arrives with his friend. So Zhou Xiao sits in front of him and starts talking to him. "We should open a detective club in our college." To this, Zhao Fan says, "If you want to open a club, you first have to prove why this club is important for our college." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao gets even more confused about how she will prove herself now. Zhao Fan, who was still looking for that hacker, Jia comes and starts instigating him against Zhou Xiao and says she must be the one who hacked the screen that day. But Zhao Fan says, no, she can't do something like that. The next day, after class, Zhou Xiao brings Zhao Fan to the computer room. There, she posts a letter in her handwriting for the hacker, so that the hacker reads the post, accepts their challenge, and they can catch him, meaning Zhou Xiao was helping Zhao Fan catch the hacker. On the other hand, we see Kai Yasi, who finds a note in Zhou Xiao's handwriting, on which it was written, "I know about your identity, so it would be better if you come forward in front of everyone." Reading this, Kai Yasi replies to her, "Zhou Xiao, you are a very big idiot." Reading this, both Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao understand that it is Kai Yasi who hacked the screen. But Zhou Xiao didn't want to frame her friend, so she takes all the blame on herself. After this, she goes and meets Kai Yasi and gets very angry at him and says, "You should have told me about this earlier, that you are the hacker." Kai Yasi says, "I did all this for you because Jia broke your device that day." Then Kai Yasi goes directly to the director, admits his mistake, and says, "I was the one who hacked the screen that day." Then Zhao Fan tells Zhou Xiao, "You have been made the president of the detective club because you have proved that it is important to have a detective club in our college." Meanwhile, when Zhou Xiao is leaving the hostel, Zhao Fan is behind her. Zhou Xiao used to read a lot of detective novels, which is why she starts imagining Zhao Fan as some serial killer. And, scared, she runs away from there. Zhao Fan finds this act of hers very strange. Then we see Zhao Fan at night. When he was just about to leave after working in the library all day, his eyes fall on Zhou Xiao, who was sleeping there. He starts smiling seeing her face. Just then, Zhou Xiao's eyes open, so he tells her, "The library is about to close, so you should leave from here." After Zhou Xiao leaves from there, Zhao Fan is thinking about her, because slowly, he was starting to like her. The next day, when Zhou Xiao meets Kai Yasi, she says to him, "I am very hungry, so take me to a good restaurant." But Kai Yasi starts to take her to the cafeteria area for lunch. Zhou Xiao didn't like the food of that area, so she starts leaving from there in anger. Zhao Fan was watching all this from above. He thinks maybe Kai Yasi is bothering Zhou Xiao. Zhao Fan, even in the middle of his class, is repeatedly thinking about Zhou Xiao, wondering if she is in some danger with Kai Yasi. So he also thinks of calling her, but she was enjoying a game in a bar with Kai Yasi. After some time, Zhou Xiao gets a call from Zhao Fan. He tells her, "Your request has been accepted. Now you should think about your club's first activity." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao becomes very happy and starts thinking about the activity. The next day, in the hostel, Zhou Xiao gets stuck in the elevator. Zhao Fan comes there to help her. She says to him, "Thank you for helping me," and starts to leave. But Zhao Fan says, "You will have to give me a good treat in return." He had said this intentionally because he wanted Zhou Xiao to spend more time with him. Zhou Xiao immediately agrees to this. Then she asks for some money from her friend, and the next day, she goes to a nice restaurant with Zhao Fan. But all the dishes there seemed very expensive to her. Zhao Fan starts ordering some dishes, so Zhou Xiao stops him and orders only a few dishes according to her budget. After eating, when it's time to pay the bill, Zhou Xiao thinks that the bill is quite high. But there, Zhao Fan pays for their order. Then, the next day, Zhao Fan comes to meet Zhou Xiao on the pretext of talking about the detective club, and he gives her a ride around the entire campus on his bicycle. These two enjoy a lot together. Now, the next day, when Zhou Xiao comes to decorate her activity room, Jia also arrives there and tells her, "Zhao Fan and I have been friends since childhood, but in between, our relationship had soured a bit. That's why she asks Zhou Xiao, 'Please help me so that everything can be fine between us.' But Zhou Xiao tells her, 'If he is such a good friend of yours, then you should talk to him about this yourself.' Zhao Fan, standing near the gate outside, is also listening to all these conversations. Then Zhou Xiao, with full dedication, gets involved in the project of her club's first activity. For this, she also goes to the forensic lab, where she meets Professor Hu. She also tells them, 'I am writing a detective novel.' Then, on the day of the activity, Zhou Xiao and all her friends gather in the club, where she blindfolds all of them and comes out herself. Then, when they remove their blindfolds, they see that the room is locked from the outside. Seeing this, everyone starts looking for the key to that room. But Zhao Fan uses his mind and cracks one of Zhou Xiao's codes, and just then, he finds the key to the room, with which they come out. But the game was still on. everyone gets busy searching for the second code, where Zhao Fan finds the code in a supermarket balloon. After this, we see Zhou Xiao, who was waiting for everyone at the ending spot of the game, that is, outside the forensic lab. Just then, Zhao Fan arrives there first, and thinks in his mind, I wasn't interested in this game at all, but because of Zhou Xiao, I completed this game and enjoyed it a lot too. Zhou Xiao tells him, I really want to go inside the forensic lab, so Zhao Fan takes her inside the lab. Coming inside, she tells him another wish of hers. I want to click photos wearing a lab coat. Zhao Fan gives permission for this too. Both of them click their pictures together and were very happy. Just then, the watchman comes looking for them, so these two go and hide in a corner. During this, they both come very close, and by mistake, Zhao Fan kisses her on the forehead. But they can't escape from the watchman. He sees them, but they lie. We came here to conduct an experiment. Because of this, they are saved. The next day, Zhou Xiao's friends tell them about a competition in which they had to decorate their room very well while showing their creativity. She says to everyone, let's participate in it. After this, when Zhou Xiao is in the hostel, she gets an idea for the competition, that they should decorate their room in a traditional Chinese theme. When she is going to the supermarket to get decoration items, Zhao Fan arrives there with his bicycle and says, I am also going there, so you can come with me. Zhou Xiao gets ready to go with him. On the way, she asks Zhao Fan, I don't know why I always run into you. To this he says, our campus is small, isn't it? That's why we meet again and again. Whereas Zhao Fan always looked for an opportunity to get close to her. Then he asks Zhou Xiao to open his bag, inside which she finds her favorite edition of his book, which Zhao Fan himself had bought for her. But he lies. I got this book from the library. Then, after reaching the supermarket, Zhou Xiao does a lot of shopping. Then she asks Zhao Fan, why didn't you buy anything here? You also came here to get something. But he dodges the question. Just then, Zhao Fan's jacket gets stuck in an automatic locker. They both try very hard to open this locker, but every time the wrong locker was opening. Zhou Xiao was having a lot of fun watching all this. Just then, Zhao Fan comes very close to her. Seeing this, she gets very nervous, and she starts trying to open the locker quickly, in which she succeeds. Then Zhou Xiao and her friends decorate their room together, but it didn't look at all like she wanted, and that's why the warden also comes there and starts scolding them, and says, you people have decorated the room as if someone is mourning here. Then they get an idea. We should decorate our room in a horror style. The next day, when Zhou Xiao was installing an electronic device in her activity room, her foot slips from the chair and she falls straight onto Kayasi. Because of this, poor Kayasi's heartbeat becomes very fast, because it was the first time Zhou Xiao had come so close to him. That's why he immediately leaves from there, making an excuse of his class. Meanwhile, Zhao Fan, who was doing some experiment in his lab, Professor Hu says to him, you should go out for a walk, because he used to stay in the lab all day. Just then, Zhou Xiao comes there. She had come to get a skeleton, but Professor Hu refuses to give her the skeleton and says, I respect my tools very much, so I can't just give them to anyone like that. But then, Zhao Fan persuades his professor there and brings the skeleton for Zhou Xiao, and he himself also comes out with it. Zhou Xiao was feeling like eating ice cream, but the ice cream she wanted to eat was not there. So Zhao Fan goes and brings her favorite ice cream. Zhou Xiao thinks, how does he always manage to be there to help me everywhere, and is always with me? She talks to Zhao Fan about this. Before he could give any answers, she herself says, oh right, that day in the lab, you kissed my forehead. You want to say sorry for that. That's why you are doing all this, right? But that was an accident. Don't worry, I didn't take it that badly. To this, Zhao Fan says, what if I really kiss you? Will you react the same way? Poor Zhou Xiao is unable to reply to this, and she takes the skeleton and returns to her hostel room. The next day, the result of their hostel room decoration contest is out, in which Zhou Xiao's room had won, because they had decorated their room in a very unique way. Everyone is also very happy, but when it's time to restore the room to its original state, everyone gets tired while working. Then, at night, Zhao Fan calls Zhou Xiao and tells her, there is a need for a worker in our library, so if you want, you can do a part-time job there. She agrees to this, and on the pretext of returning the skeleton, he calls her to meet him. Here, Kayasi is standing with a friend of his. He was looking for Zhou Xiao. Just then, she arrives there and asks him for help. Zhou Xiao says, help me deliver this skeleton to the forensic lab. But there, Kayasi's friend likes Zhou Xiao a lot. He starts trying to impress her. This makes Kayasi very jealous, and he says to Zhou Xiao, you deliver this skeleton to the forensic department yourself, and he drags his friend away from there. On the way, he tells his friend, stay away from Zhou Xiao. She has been my friend since childhood. Hearing all this, his friend understands that he likes her, but Kayasi was still afraid to admit this, because he thought, if I confess my love, Zhou Xiao will reject me. Here, his friend explains to him, if you don't confess your feelings, you will always remain just her friend. Then, Kayasi calls Zhou Xiao and says, I am coming to help you. Here, Zhou Xiao is in the forensic lab with Zhao Fan. Just then, Professor Hu comes there and says to her, "You can't come here anymore," because outside students were not allowed in the lab. Just then, Kai Yasi arrives and starts to take Zhou Xiao away from there, because he was about to confess his feelings to her. But just then, the professor and Zhao Fan try to stop Zhou Xiao, but Kai Yasi says, "I have to tell you something very important." So Zhou Xiao agrees to go with him. Then these two come to a cafe. Kai Yasi doesn't tell his feelings directly. He tries to give her many hints, but Zhou Xiao was a complete blockhead. She doesn't understand any of his hints. So he changes the topic and says to her, "I needed some money." He had come here just to get that. At this, Zhou Xiao gives him money and leaves, and poor Kai Yasi is unable to confess his feelings. The next day, Zhou Xiao comes to the library to give an interview for a job. So Jia asks Zhao Fan, "You found a job for Zhou Xiao, but why not for me?" So Zhao Fan tells her clearly, "I like Zhou Xiao, and that's why I did this." Hearing this, she pretends to be happy in front of Zhao Fan, but goes outside and starts crying, because she had liked him since childhood. But Jia decides that she will not give up so easily and will come back into Zhao Fan's life again. Then we see that Zhou Xiao comes to the library, where Zhao Fan explains all the library work to her. Zhou Xiao says, "After lunch, I have to go see a badminton match." So Zhao Fan comes along with her. After the badminton match is over, a player has a severe shoulder injury, so Zhao Fan comes to him and tells him that his shoulder is dislocated. The boy asks, "Are you a medical student?" So Zhao Fan explains, "I am a forensic student." At this, the boy tells him, "Stay away from me," because he thought he won't be able to treat me. Just then, Zhou Xiao comes there and, taking Zhao Fan's side, says, even though Zhao Fan studies dead bodies, he also knows how to treat living people. In the middle of the conversation, Zhao Fan fixes his shoulder, and he takes Zhou Xiao and leaves from there. He was also very happy that Zhou Xiao spoke in his support. The next day, Zhou Xiao is in the club. They had to perform an activity for the university's anniversary, but their other friends had not arrived, so they were unable to decide what they should do. Just then, she messages Zhao Fan. Here we see that Zhao Fan is also in a meeting for the university anniversary, and there, everyone is suggesting, "We will volunteer for some clubs," which included Zhou Xiao's club. Meanwhile, Kai Yasi was also going to perform a speech for the university. He was practicing. A girl sees him doing so. Just then, he gets a message from Zhou Xiao, and he goes to meet her. Here, Zhou Xiao and Ling Tao are watching a horror movie together. They both ask for suggestions from Kai Yasi. What should we do at the university? But he too is unable to give a good idea. Here, Jia, to impress Zhao Fan, takes on all the university work herself. When Zhao Fan comes to meet Zhou Xiao, Kai Yasi is sitting there holding her hand. Seeing this, a jealous Zhao Fan says to her, "Let's go work in the library," and he takes her away from there. After he leaves, Ling Tao says to Kai Yasi, "You have to do something soon, or Zhou Xiao will become someone else's." Zhou Xiao comes to the library with Zhao Fan. There she also finds some ancient detective novels, which she had wanted to see for a long time. It gets late while they are working in the library. Then, as soon as they finish all their work and come out, the lights go out. By the time these two reach the main door, it had also been locked. Now these two were stuck there. Both of their phones were also switched off, so they couldn't call anyone for help. Now they had to stay in the library, and it was also getting very cold. Zhou Xiao gets an idea, and together with Zhao Fan, she makes an igloo out of books and happily sits inside it. Zhao Fan goes to get some newspapers for her to sit on, and just then he finds a charger there, with which they could charge their phones and call someone. But Zhao Fan didn't want that. He wanted to spend this night with Zhou Xiao, so he hides the charger right there. Then these two sit together inside the igloo. Here, Zhao Fan asks her, "How do you manage to be so happy in every situation?" She explains, "Actually, I am very emotional, but I control myself according to the situation." They talk late into the night, and she falls asleep with her head on Zhao Fan's shoulder. Zhao Fan says in his mind, "At first, I used to run away from people who were emotional, but being with Zhou Xiao, I have learned the real meaning of emotions. And now, I can feel emotions too." The next day, we see Kai Yasi and Ling Tao getting very worried about Zhou Xiao because her phone had been switched off since last night, and she didn't come back at night either. Just then, Zhou Xiao arrives. Ling Tao makes her talk to Kai Yasi. Kai Yasi is very angry with her, and he comes to meet her outside the class. The teacher also sees him standing there and says to Zhou Xiao, "Look, your boyfriend has come to see you." To this, she says, "No, he is my younger brother, and his brain is a little weak, so he starts doing such things." At this, the teacher also lets her go outside. Then she comes out and tells Kai Yasi, "Last night, I got locked in the library with Zhao Fan." Hearing this, he gets very angry. The next day, Zhou Xiao is working a lot. Seeing this, Zhao Fan comes to her and helps her. Just then, Zhao Fan gets a call informing them, "The special guest who was supposed to come to our function, their arrival has now been cancelled." To this, Zhou Xiao says, "I will arrange for a performance in place of the special guest's entry." After this, Zhao Fan starts checking the spotlight there. Zhou Xiao was watching him. He slowly starts moving towards her and, coming close to her, looks at her very lovingly. Just then, Kai Yasi arrives and disturbs both of them. After this, Zhou Xiao asks Ling Tao, "What performance should I do at the function?" "Because I have promised Zhao Fan a good idea." To which Ling Tao says, "You always think about Zhao Fan and sideline Kai Yasi." So Zhou Xiao tells her, "Kai Yasi only remembers me when he needs something, and today he also had lunch with a very good classmate of his. Surely they both must like each other." Then the next day, we see Zhou Xiao and some of her friends practicing dance, and she makes a video of it and sends it to Zhao Fan as well, and tells him, "We have thought of a good performance." Soon, the day of the performance also arrives, where Zhou Xiao and her friends give a very good performance, and standing far away, Zhao Fan, with Kai Yasi and other boys, are watching them. After the performance is over, Zhao Fan applies spray on Zhou Xiao's feet, because her feet must be hurting from dancing so much, and she was recording Kai Yasi's video speech. Kai Yasi, in the middle of his speech, confesses his love, saying, "I like Zhou Xiao." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao, as well as Zhao Fan, are completely shocked. After this, when Zhou Xiao is sitting alone in her room, her friends tell her, "What are you doing here? You should have been on a date with Kai Yasi." So Zhou Xiao says, "Kai Yasi has pretended to make me his girlfriend before to make his crush jealous, and maybe this time too he is doing the same." But Kai Yasi had now genuinely started to like Zhou Xiao, but she just can't understand this, which makes Kai Yasi angry, and he leaves from there. The next day, we see Zhao Fan in the library reading a book titled Psychological Effects of Love, so that he can find out how to convince Zhou Xiao towards him. Just then, Zhou Xiao arrives there, and seeing her, he puts the book back. He had read in the book, if you show interest in things she likes, she will start liking you too. And for this reason, he starts talking to her about detective novels. Just then, a couple comes and starts fighting. They were talking about someone being pregnant. Hearing this, Zhou Xiao thinks, maybe this girl is pregnant and her boyfriend is cheating on her. So Zhou Xiao goes to her and says, "You will find an even better guy. You don't need to cry for him." Hearing this, the girl clears her misunderstanding by telling her, "My cat is pregnant and my boyfriend has lost her somewhere." Hearing this, Zhao Fan starts laughing. Hearing her story, Zhou Xiao decides to help the girl. After this, Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan set out to find the cat. It gets dark while they are searching for them all over the campus. Now, these people reach a closed hall, where it was very dark. That's why she says to Zhao Fan, "You go inside alone." But he asks her, "Come with me," because he had read in the book, if you protect her in such a place, she might get impressed. Then they both go inside. Here, Zhou Xiao's foot steps on a plate. This scares her a lot, and she holds onto Zhao Fan tightly. He is very happy to see this. Zhou Xiao was very scared there, so they both come out soon. Then, to dispel her fear, Zhao Fan brings ice cream for her. Zhou Xiao says, "Now we will go look for that cat tomorrow." Then they both go back to their respective rooms. The next day, when Zhao Fan is working in his detective club, Jia comes there and asks for his help with one of her assignments. Zhao Fan agrees to this. Just then, Jia comes from behind and hugs him. Before he can push her away, Zhou Xiao arrives and sees them in this condition. Jia leaves from there. When Zhou Xiao comes inside, Zhao Fan starts to explain, "It's not what you were thinking." To this, Zhou Xiao doesn't react at all and says, "You are so good that everyone likes you." After this, at night, they both go to find the cat again, where Zhao Fan finds the pregnant cat stuck in a place. Zhao Fan sees that the cat is about to have babies soon, so he takes her to his lab and treats her. Zhou Xiao is very happy to see her new babies, but the next day, Zhao Fan gets a lot of scolding from Professor Hu because bringing a cat into the lab was not allowed, and for this, he gives him the punishment of standing outside. Just then, Zhou Xiao comes there and finds out about Zhao Fan's punishment, hearing which, she starts laughing loudly and says, "Do they also punish kids like this in college, making them stand outside?" Seeing her laugh like this, Zhao Fan also starts laughing. The next day, Zhou Xiao gets a call from Kai Yasi. He tells her, there is a detective art festival happening tomorrow. He had 2 tickets for it, that's why he invites Zhou Xiao. "Come with me." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao becomes very happy and says yes to him. On the other side, Zhao Fan was reading about the festival on his phone in his lab. After this, Professor Hu gives him the task of cleaning the lab and leaves from there. He was about to start his work when Zhou Xiao arrives. She had come here to get a book. After this, she starts looking at the lab's tools. Zhao Fan gives her a lot of information about the tools. Just then, Zhao Fan asks her to go with him to the detective festival, but Zhou Xiao explains, "This time I am going with Kai Yasi." Hearing this, he gets a little upset. Then at night, Zhou Xiao and all her friends select their dresses to go to the festival and are acting as if a fashion show is going on there. After this, in the morning, Zhou Xiao comes to the bus station, and there she meets Zhao Fan too. Actually, he had come to go to the fashion show with her, but he lies to her, "I came here for Professor Hu." Zhao Fan looks at her and thinks, look how well she is dressed up to go with Kai Yasi. Just then, Zhou Xiao gets a call from Kai Yasi. On the call, he tells her, I won't be able to come to the show with you now. Hearing this, she gets very upset. Just then, Zhao Fan invites her to go to the festival with him. Hearing this, Zhou Xiao becomes very happy. Meanwhile, Kai Yasi's professor is telling him, you cannot go anywhere from here without finishing your work. So he starts finishing his work quickly. Here, Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan are enjoying themselves a lot at the detective festival. Kai Yasi's friends distract the professor, and he quietly slips out from there. Zhou Xiao was still at the detective festival. Just then, she gets a call from Kai Yasi that he has also arrived. Zhou Xiao comes outside to meet him. Kai Yasi gives her a soft toy and also says sorry for not being able to come to the exhibition with her. Just then, Zhao Fan comes and gives some things to Zhou Xiao, which he had bought for her. Seeing this, Zhou Xiao is very shocked. Why are these two taking such good care of me? At night, Zhou Xiao, Zhao Fan, and several of their friends meet together and start playing a game, where a question is asked, with which one person in the world would they want to have dinner? Here, Jia takes Zhao Fan's name, and Zhao Fan takes Zhou Xiao's name. Seeing this, Jia gets up and leaves from there and starts drinking. So Zhao Fan comes there and tries to explain to her, we can never be together. Hearing this, she feels very bad. After this, they all fall asleep right there. Zhou Xiao notices that Zhao Fan doesn't have a pillow and is having trouble resting his head on the table. So she places the soft toy gifted by Kai Yasi under his head and starts looking at him very lovingly. Kai Yasi, standing far away, is watching all this, and he is feeling very hurt. Then he takes out a QR code stuck to his toy's leg, and he scans it with his phone and listens to it, in which he had made a voice recording for Zhou Xiao saying, I love you very much. But now he had understood Zhou Xiao doesn't have feelings for me, so he feels very bad and starts crying. After this, Zhou Xiao gets a few days holiday, so she comes to her home. Her mom and dad take very good care of her because she had returned home after many days. After staying at home for a few days, she comes back to her college. At night, when Zhou Xiao is in her room, she gets a message from Zhao Fan, and he messages her, come to the library tomorrow afternoon. After replying to Zhao Fan's message, she is feeling very happy and thinks about him all night. After this, Zhou Xiao goes to meet him in the library, but she was repeatedly hiding from Zhao Fan, so he locks her in a glass door room and confesses his feelings to her, I like you. Hearing this, Zhou Xiao is very surprised and comes out and says, I need some time to think about this. But Zhao Fan blocks her with his hands, so Zhou Xiao also has to tell him her feelings, saying, I like you too. But after saying this, she gets so nervous that she immediately runs away from there. Then they both start the work of stamping books. After this, they come to a restaurant to have dinner together. Here, Zhou Xiao feeds him a dish with her own hands. Zhao Fan didn't like non-vegetarian food at all, but since Zhou Xiao was feeding him with her own hands, he eats it. Kai Yasi, sitting a little away, is also watching all this, and it's hurting him a lot, but he behaves completely normal in front of Zhou Xiao. Then, Zhao Fan comes to drop Zhou Xiao at her hostel. In her room, Zhou Xiao tells all her friends, Zhao Fan proposed to me, and now we are dating. Then we see Zhou Xiao in her classroom, where she was trying to write a novel but wasn't getting any ideas, so she starts banging her head on the table. Just then, a student wakes up who was sleeping there. The boy comes to Zhou Xiao and asks, why are you so upset? She is quite impressed seeing him there suddenly. Zhou Xiao tells him, I am your Chinese language tutor. Then she starts teaching him Chinese. After this, Zhou Xiao comes out of the room with him, where Zhao Fan was standing, waiting for her. They both come out talking and also exchange their numbers. After the boy leaves, Zhao Fan asks Zhou Xiao, why did you give him your number so quickly? Zhou Xiao says, if you have a problem with it, I will delete his number from my phone. But when she is deleting the number from her phone, Zhao Fan tells her not to. After this, she again starts writing her novel, and it gets late for both of them while working there. She was still busy writing her novel and was not talking to Zhao Fan at all. So he starts bothering her, comes very close to her, and just as he was about to kiss her, Zhao Fan gets a call from Kai Yasi. But he cuts his call and starts kissing Zhou Xiao. This makes her feel very awkward. Now the next day, Zhao Fan comes outside Zhou Xiao's hostel, and he gives her a file. Inside it were many options for going on a date, where she would like it the most. Zhou Xiao selects a night walk from it. Then these two set out for there on a bicycle and come and sit at a place. There, Zhao Fan gives her a box. When Zhou Xiao opens it, she finds tobacco pipes inside. Zhao Fan explains, a detective novel writer must have a tobacco pipe. and the idea to give this handmade gift was given by Professor Hu. That's why he has made this pipe with his own hands. The next day, when Zhou Xiao reaches his lab to meet Zhao Fan, she sees that Zhao Fan was doing some experiment. Zhou Xiao goes and sits next to him, and then he kisses her and gets busy with his experiment again. Zhou Xiao gets bored and falls asleep right there and starts snoring. Just then, Zhao Fan records her snores on his phone. The next day, these two come to an amusement park for a visit. Here, Zhou Xiao asks to go on the roller coaster ride. She was very excited about it, but Zhao Fan was very scared. Out of fear, he holds on to Zhou Xiao tightly, and then these two enjoy a lot together. After this, Zhou Xiao also gets some pictures of their roller coaster ride painted, in which Zhou Xiao sees that Zhao Fan was very scared during the ride. Seeing this, she starts teasing him. Then these two come to a store. Here, Zhou Xiao buys a hairband for Zhao Fan, and here too she starts teasing him that he is very cowardly. Because of this, Zhao Fan even wears that hairband to his work. Then he pulls her towards him and puts a mask on her mouth so that she can't tease him anymore. Then they both sit together and have lunch. Just then, Zhou Xiao's eyes fall on a mark on his hand. She asks him, "How did you get this mark on your hand?" So he tells her, "When I was young, my mom and dad used to fight a lot, and one day, they had a very big fight. Just then, a knife hit my hand. This mark has been on my hand ever since." Hearing all this, Zhou Xiao gets a little emotional. But to cheer up Zhao Fan's mood, she says, "I thought you were in the army before and that's why you got this injury on your hand." Hearing which, they both start laughing. After this, Zhao Fan takes her to another place. Here, he gives her a surprise and also lights fireworks for her. Zhou Xiao gets very happy seeing the fireworks. Zhao Fan was just about to kiss her when security guards arrive, so these two hide and run away from there. Then Zhou Xiao starts making a lot of bubbles with the bubbles she bought. These two enjoy a lot here too. Then Zhao Fan also kisses her. The next day, Zhao Fan comes to pick up Zhou Xiao on his bicycle. So Zhou Xiao says, "Ride the cycle a little faster." So he asks her, "Ride the cycle yourself." So Zhou Xiao makes him sit behind and starts riding the cycle herself. On the way, her phone falls and breaks. These two reach the college having a lot of fun, where Jia is also getting very jealous seeing them both. Then, Zhou Xiao finds out from Zhao Fan that a very famous writer is coming to their university, who, besides being a forensic doctor, also writes detective novels. After this, she comes to the class and tells her friends about this as well, where the teacher scolds her, "Don't talk in the middle of the class." Then we see Professor Hu, who was doing some experiment in his lab when Zhao Fan comes there with the writer Chen Meng, because she was also a medical examiner and had also been Professor Hu's assistant. These two talk for a while. Then Zhou Xiao also comes there. She tells Chen Meng, "I am a very big fan of yours." The next day, Zhao Fan finds out that his mom has had an accident and is in a coma, so he leaves from there without informing Zhou Xiao or anyone. Meanwhile, Jia blocks Zhao Fan's number from Zhou Xiao's phone so that they can't talk to each other, and that's what happens. Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan both try very hard to call each other, but they are unable to talk. Zhao Fan calls a friend of his and asks him to talk to Zhou Xiao. The next day, when Zhou Xiao goes to Zhao Fan's classroom to look for him, Jia comes in front of her, talking to someone on the phone, and reacts as if she is talking to Zhao Fan. And then she tells Zhou Xiao, "Zhao Fan's mom has had an accident and now he doesn't want to talk to you." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao comes back to her room, and she was feeling very bad too. Here, a friend of hers also tells her, "Zhao Fan's mom has had an accident." Hearing this, Zhou Xiao believes Jia's words and thinks, "Everyone except me knows about this. This means he really doesn't want to talk to me." Thinking this, she starts crying. Just then, Kai Yasi comes to meet her. He sees her sad and asks, "Is there any problem between you and Zhao Fan?" Then he starts trying to keep Zhou Xiao happy and also brings ice cream for her. Zhou Xiao was very sad, but she didn't want to stay like this, so she was thinking of moving on from Zhao Fan. Over there, Zhao Fan was repeatedly trying to call her. Then, to cheer up Zhou Xiao's mood, her friend takes her to see a match. But even there, she was repeatedly checking her phone because she was waiting for a message from Zhao Fan. When she comes to the washroom, a girl from behind tells her, "You should focus on your life and move on." Zhou Xiao gets very motivated by her words and starts focusing completely on her studies. Then, when Zhou Xiao comes back to her hostel, she gets a call from Kai Yasi. He calls her to give her a gift. When Zhou Xiao reaches there, she finds out that Kai Yasi had called her there to meet Zhao Fan. Seeing him there, Zhou Xiao starts to leave, but Zhao Fan holds her hand and stops her, and he tells her, "We didn't break up. I tried to contact you many times, but because the number was blocked, I couldn't talk to you." After the misunderstanding is cleared, they both say sorry to each other. And Zhou Xiao also says to Kai Yasi, "Thank you. You were the one who found Zhao Fan and helped clear the misunderstanding between us." After this, Zhao Fan takes Zhou Xiao to get a phone, where he buys her a very expensive phone, which makes Zhou Xiao very happy. After this, Zhao Fan comes back to his mom, where he sees that Jia has also come there. Zhao Fan's mom asks him, "Do you two live together in the hostel or not? Do you have lunch together or not?" So Zhao Fan explains, "I already have a girlfriend, and I have lunch with her." Hearing this, Jia gets upset and leaves from there. After this, Zhao Fan's mom asks him about his girlfriend, so he explains, "Her name is Zhou Xiao, and she is a very good girl." And at the same time, he also shows her photo to his mom. His mom also likes her a lot. After his mom's health improves, Zhao Fan returns to his university. Now the next day, Zhao Fan, Zhou Xiao, and several of their friends are leaving for a trip. Zhou Xiao is sitting in the car with Zhao Fan when Kai Yasi arrives. Zhao Fan, to annoy him, locks the car from the inside, but Zhou Xiao asks him to unlock it. Then Kai Yasi also comes and sits with them. They arrive at their guest house where everyone gets out of the car and goes inside. But just as Zhou Xiao is about to get out, Zhao Fan stops her and starts kissing her. After that, they also come inside, where Zhao Fan helps Zhou Xiao put her luggage in her room. After this, they go to the terrace and everyone likes the view from here very much because the ocean was right in front. At night, Zhao Fan cooks for everyone, for which all his friends praise him a lot, that he makes very good dishes. After this, they have a few drinks and get very drunk. And because of this, Zhou Xiao was having a lot of trouble taking Zhao Fan to his room. So she puts him in a trolley and starts taking him there, where Zhao Fan starts acting very childishly. Then somehow, Zhou Xiao takes him to his room, and he was very drunk, so she stays in his room to take care of him. After a while, when Zhou Xiao's eyes open, she sees that Zhao Fan comes back from the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his body and says that she should also go and take a shower. After taking a shower, Zhou Xiao comes and lies down there. And then they both start watching a movie, but the movies are very scary, so Zhou Xiao starts getting very scared. So they both fall asleep together. The next morning, Zhao Fan takes her to the seashore, where they both have a lot of fun. Then their trip ends. Zhao Fan comes to drop Zhou Xiao at her house, and before leaving from there, he starts kissing her. Just then, Zhou Xiao's dad comes there and sees them both. After this, we see that Zhou Xiao's dad makes Zhao Fan sit in front of him and was asking him some questions very strictly. And Zhou Xiao tells her mom everything about Zhao Fan, how and where they met, and how Zhao Fan has helped her. Her mom likes Zhao Fan a lot because he was very handsome. Meanwhile, poor Zhao Fan was sitting quietly in front of her dad. As soon as he starts drinking the tea made by him, his dad stops him and says, "How can you do anything without the permission of elders?" Just then, Zhou Xiao starts to go with her mom to cook dinner for everyone. Just then, her dad lies to Zhao Fan, saying, "In our family, men always cook. So if you want to become a member of our family, you will have to cook." Hearing his words, Zhao Fan quietly goes to the kitchen. Zhou Xiao, along with her mom and dad, are watching him secretly, where, seeing his cooking skills, his mom already considers him her son-in-law and takes his dad to the room to convince him and tells him he is absolutely perfect for Zhou Xiao. But his dad says, "I consider Kai Yasi my son-in-law, and he is the one who is perfect for Zhou Xiao." That's why he asked Kai Yasi to come there at this time as well. Here, Zhou Xiao comes to the kitchen and tries to help Zhao Fan. So he says, "You should follow your family's rules and stay away from me for now." But Zhou Xiao also wanted to help him and was bothering him by hugging him again and again. Zhao Fan picks her up in his arms and comes very close to her face. Zhou Xiao thinks he is going to kiss her, but just then, he blows away the flower on her face and says, "Leave." So Zhou Xiao leaves from there. After a while, Kai Yasi arrives there. After this, they all sit down for dinner together. Everyone loves the dish made by Zhao Fan, but Dad still starts finding faults in them, even though they also like the dish very much. At the same time, he starts praising Kai Yasi in front of everyone and says he is very smart and he will definitely do something big for our country in the future. Hearing this, Zhou Xiao tells them, Zhao Fan is a forensic doctor and he will also definitely do something for our country. After eating, Mom tells Zhao Fan, "You should stay here, it's getting quite late." After this, Zhao Fan, Zhou Xiao, and her mom sit together and watch TV. Mom asks Zhou Xiao, "Go cut and bring watermelon," but she refuses. So Zhao Fan goes to the kitchen to cut and bring watermelon, where he sees that Dad was enjoying the dishes he made with great pleasure. He is very shocked to see this, and Dad also got very embarrassed seeing him in front. After this, Mom asks Zhao Fan to sleep on the sofa, but Dad tells him, "You will sleep with me," so that he can't go to Zhou Xiao at night. When Zhao Fan goes to their room to sleep with Dad, Dad starts showing off in front of him on the pretext of cleaning his trophies and medals, and starts telling him which awards he has won. By doing all this, he was trying to scare him. Then he makes him clean all his awards as well. The next day, Zhao Fan wakes up early, so Mom asks him, "How did you sleep at night?" to which he says, I slept very well. Then he and her mom go to Zhou Xiao's room and see that dad was telling her a story of a serial killer. But Zhou Xiao wanted to sleep and was shouting loudly, annoyed by her dad's voice. Seeing her shouting like this, Mom and Zhao Fan start laughing at her. After this, Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao sit and have lunch, where Zhou Xiao asks him, how did you sleep at night? So he explains, I slept well, whereas he was very troubled all night because of dad's snores and kicks. Just then, Mom and Dad also come there for breakfast, and they were snatching and eating each other's food. Zhao Fan also feels very good seeing this because he also wanted a family that lives together in harmony and enjoys like this, but his family had never been like this. Then Mom asks Zhao Fan to stay here for a few more days and explains, there are many good places in our area where he can go for a walk with Zhou Xiao. Then he agrees to stay. But just then, he gets a call from his dad, and he has to go to his house. After reaching home, Zhao Fan sees that all the things are scattered there. His dad explains, your mom fought again and threw all these things in anger. Then Zhao Fan takes his mom to the hospital with his dad, where he finds out from the report that his mom has a serious illness and needs good treatment, which will be in Beijing. Hearing this, they both get very worried. Here, Zhao Fan also meets Jia. After this, Dad gives Zhao Fan a card saying, with the money in this, get your mom treated. But I can't come with you for her treatment because I have to go on a business trip. But Zhao Fan refuses to take that card. He was angry with his dad because he always thought that help could only be given with money. And today, when his mom is so sick, he is still only thinking about his business. Then he calls Zhou Xiao and tells her about his mom. When Zhao Fan takes his mom to Beijing for treatment, Mom starts looking for Dad, but Dad is nowhere to be found. Because of which, she starts behaving like a mad person again. Because of which, Zhao Fan has to tell them the truth. Dad has left you and gone on a business trip. Hearing this, Mom's condition worsens even more, and several nurses come and handle her. After this incident, Zhao Fan gets very worried. Then he is going to get some medicines for his mom when he meets Zhou Xiao there. She says, I will stay here with you in the hospital, take care of your mom, and also support you. But he forbids her from staying here and says, you don't need to worry about these things. So Zhou Xiao says, okay, I will come to see your mom tomorrow. The next day, Zhou Xiao comes to meet his mom. She had also brought some fruits with her. Zhao Fan introduces her to his mom and goes out for some work. Just then, Mom starts having an attack again, and she starts shouting a lot at Zhou Xiao. Just then, Zhao Fan comes there and starts handling his mom. But this whole incident had scared both of them a lot. After this, when Zhou Xiao comes to her house, she accidentally says that she had gone to Beijing to meet Zhao Fan's mom. But when her parents ask her about Zhao Fan's mom, she lies. She had a fever? Then Zhou Xiao talks to Zhao Fan on a video call and asks, have you packed your bag for the university or not? Zhou Xiao says, I will come to the university only when you come back from Beijing. But Zhao Fan explains to her, you will have to go to the university alone, because it will take him a lot of time to come back. After this, her dad comes there and starts asking Zhao Fan about his and Zhou Xiao's future plans. To this, Zhao Fan tells them, I have had my genetic test done, because if I also get my mom's disease, I will break up with Zhou Xiao. When Dad asks for the reason, he explains, I don't want to break up, but I also don't want Zhou Xiao to suffer in her life because of me. I won't be able to see that happen to her. Dad feels very bad for him hearing this. After this, we see Zhou Xiao, who is packing her bag to go to the university. Just then, Kai Yasi brings watermelon to their house, and they both sit together and eat watermelon. While eating watermelon, they both start throwing its seeds at each other. Just then, their mom and dad arrive there. Seeing all this, Mom says, this is why I don't want Kai Yasi to be our son-in-law. Dad also agrees on this point. The next day, Zhou Xiao and Kai Yasi leave for the university. When Kai Yasi asks her about Zhao Fan, she tells him it will take him some time to come. To which Kai Yasi says, if Zhao Fan can't come to the university, this long distance will make you two break up. Hearing this, Zhou Xiao says, I am going to the airport today to pick up Zhao Fan because he is coming today. And when she goes to the airport to pick up Zhao Fan, she is so excited that she starts crossing the road without looking around, because of which she is about to collide with a taxi, but she is saved. Just then, Zhao Fan comes to her and gets very angry at her and says, you shouldn't have come here alone so late at night? Then these two get into a taxi. Zhou Xiao starts trying to pacify him and says, my leg is hurting a lot. But when Zhao Fan starts looking at her leg, she hugs him and says, don't be angry with me. Then these two come to the university. The next day, Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao go to Professor Hu's class. Because Zhou Xiao had to finish her novel soon for a contest, that's why she hadn't slept all night. She starts feeling sleepy in class too. She starts applying an oil to her eyes to control her sleep, but Zhao Fan stops her from doing so. But Professor Hu sees them doing this and says, "You shouldn't get so close to your girlfriend in the middle of the class." And in the meantime, the oil accidentally gets into Zhao Fan's eyes, so Zhou Xiao starts cleaning it. After this, Zhou Xiao and some of their friends sit together and have lunch. Just then, Ling Tao tells them about the upcoming program for medical students. Everyone decides to go to this program. Then, when Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao come out from there, Zhou Xiao feels like eating ice cream, so she goes to get ice cream for herself. A little after she leaves, Zhao Fan gets a call from his dad. He finds out that his mom has been admitted to the hospital again. Hearing this, Zhao Fan tells them, "I will come there soon to see mom." Zhou Xiao also hears this and says to him, "I will also go with you to see your mom." Then these two start enjoying themselves while eating ice cream together. After this, both of them are going by bus to meet Zhao Fan's mom. But here, Zhou Xiao was feeling very nervous. Zhao Fan tells her, "Now you are absolutely perfect to meet my mom, and you don't need to be so nervous at all." So she says, "Hey, I am going to meet my mother-in-law, so why wouldn't I be nervous?" Hearing which, Zhao Fan first starts teasing her. Then he also comforts her so that she doesn't feel nervous. Then Zhou Xiao meets his mom and also gives them very beautiful flowers. Mom asks her, "Has anyone ever given you flowers?" To this, Zhou Xiao answers no, but just then, she remembers Kai Yasi because he had given her flowers. She was about to tell about him when Zhao Fan stops her from telling. Just then, Mom gives Zhou Xiao a flower from the flowers she brought. Here, Zhou Xiao also starts having a lot of fun with the flower. Just then, Zhao Fan puts his leg in the middle, due to which Zhou Xiao collides and falls on the sofa right there, and all the flowers start slipping from Zhao Fan's head and falling on her. Mom was very happy seeing this and was smiling. Jia, standing outside, was also watching all this. She was coming there with Zhao Fan's genetic report. His reports were completely normal, but after hearing all their talk, Jia gets very angry and starts to leave. Just then, Zhao Fan's dad arrives. Jia comes out of the room with them. In the course of conversation, Dad tells her, Zhao Fan is very sensitive, and if his genetic report results come back positive, he will break up with Zhou Xiao. Hearing which, Jia gets an idea, and she takes those reports with her without showing them to anyone. Then we see that Zhou Xiao spends a lot of her time with Zhao Fan and his mom. At the same time, she was also completing her novels. Mom has now become a good friend of Zhou Xiao's as well, and she also helps them control their anger. Seeing which, Zhao Fan also feels very happy, and the three of them enjoy a lot together. Then the next day, Zhou Xiao completes her novel and calls Zhao Fan, and also invites him to the program happening at the university. But he doesn't give her a proper answer and cuts her call. Just then, we see his genetic test report in Zhao Fan's hand, in which his result was written as positive. This means Jia had changed his reports, so that he would break up with Zhou Xiao. The scene now shifts to the university, where Zhou Xiao is waiting for Zhao Fan with her friends, but Zhao Fan is very late to meet her, after which these two come inside. Then they play a lot of games together, and they also experience old age. Here, Zhao Fan gets emotional and hugs Zhou Xiao. Then these two start playing a Death King game. In this, Zhou Xiao asks him, "If you were about to die, what would be your last words to me?" But just then, Zhao Fan becomes very serious and says, "Maybe we should break up now." Hearing this, she is completely shocked. At first, she thinks that Zhao Fan is joking. Then she starts asking about his problem. "If you have any problem or any other reason, you can share it. I will definitely help you." But Zhao Fan doesn't tell her anything about his reports, and he takes off the phone cover he gave her and gives it to her. But Zhou Xiao throws it right there and starts crying. And crying, she leaves from there. On the way, she meets Kai Yasi, who, seeing Zhou Xiao so upset, understands that something wrong must have happened to her, so he asks her about it. So Zhou Xiao tells him, "Zhao Fan has broken up with me." Hearing this, Kai Yasi gets very angry and starts to go to hit Zhao Fan, but Zhou Xiao stops him from doing so. Then Kai Yasi quiets her down, hugs her, and sits there comforting her. On the other hand, we see Zhao Fan sitting alone in the same place where he used to go and sit in his childhood. And sitting there, he becomes very emotional, remembering all the moments spent with Zhou Xiao. The next day, Zhou Xiao is sitting in the classroom with her friend, and she was feeling very sleepy because she hadn't slept at all last night. Seeing her so sad, her friends ask her about Zhao Fan after the class is over. So Zhou Xiao tells them this very normally, "We have broken up now." Hearing which, her friends are also very surprised. They also knew very well that Zhou Xiao was not okay at all. She was just pretending to be normal. After this, Zhou Xiao goes to the student union for some work, where she finds out that Zhao Fan has resigned from the student union. Then, when she goes to the library, she finds out that Zhao Fan has also quit his part-time job. And he had also told Zhou Xiao in an email, "I can no longer be a member of your detective club." Seeing all this, Zhou Xiao feels very strange, but without thinking much, she accepts his mail. Zhao Fan starts packing his things when his friend comes there and asks him to eat some fruit, and says, Zhou Xiao has sent fruits for you, so he quickly takes the fruits, but he also gets a little upset. Just then, Kai Yasi comes to their room and takes Zhao Fan straight to the ground, and without saying anything to him, punches him straight in the face, at which Zhao Fan also punches him in the face, and a big fight starts between these two. After fighting with each other for a long time, when neither of them can win against the other, they both sit down quietly and start talking about Zhou Xiao. Kai Yasi asks, why did you break up with Zhou Xiao? To this, Zhao Fan says, from now on you will have to take care of Zhou Xiao, but he doesn't give the reason. Kai Yasi also agrees to this. Then Zhao Fan tells him a lot about Zhou Xiao. She is very careless, so Kai Yasi will have to take very good care of her, just like I used to. Meanwhile, Zhou Xiao is working alone in the library late at night, and she starts missing Zhao Fan. How once they both had made an igloo in the library and stayed inside it all night. Then, remembering him, she goes on the bus, where Zhao Fan had kissed her. Remembering all this, she was getting very hurt. Here, she also remembers that Zhao Fan had promised her that he would never break up with her. Thinking this, she starts crying and thinks, why did he do this to me? The next day, when Zhao Fan comes to the hospital to see his mom asks him about Zhou Xiao and says, until she comes here, I will not take medicine, because Zhou Xiao had not come to see them for many days. Zhao Fan didn't want his mom's health to get worse, so he lies to them. Zhou Xiao is very busy with her classes and writing her novel, so she can't come right now. The next day, when Zhou Xiao is working in the library, she sees someone hiding behind a table. She thinks it might be Zhao Fan, but when she goes near him and looks, it is Kai Yasi. Kai Yasi had joined the library for a part-time job to be with her. He starts trying to cheer up Zhou Xiao when she finds Zhao Fan, who had come there to fix a computer. But when he sees Kai Yasi, he gives him the computer to fix, because Kai Yasi was a computer science student. And that's why he fixes the computer in a little while. After this, he again starts irritating her as before to cheer up Zhou Xiao's mood. But Zhou Xiao's full attention was only on Zhao Fan, who was treating her like a stranger. Just then, a small piece of wood gets into Zhou Xiao's hand, so Zhao Fan runs to her and holds her hand, but she pulls her hand away from him. Just then, Kai Yasi comes there and says, let's go to the hospital. When these two come out together, Zhou Xiao gets a call from Zhao Fan's mom, who calls her and says, come meet me at the hospital. She can't refuse them either because she knew about their condition. Then Kai Yasi takes her to the hospital, where Zhou Xiao tells him, wait outside, and goes to meet Zhao Fan's mom herself. And then these two have lunch together, and Zhou Xiao tells her, once Zhao Fan came to my house and he also cooked. Her mom gets very happy hearing her stories. Just then, Zhao Fan comes there and is shocked to see Zhou Xiao there. And just then, at mom's insistence, Zhou Xiao also has to feed fruits to Zhao Fan. Then mom also asks Zhou Xiao, come for dinner. But Zhao Fan says she is very busy and can't come there. At this, mom starts insisting and says she can surely take out a little time for us. At this, Zhou Xiao was about to say yes when Zhao Fan tells them, we have broken up. Hearing this, mom is very shocked. After this, Zhou Xiao sadly leaves from there. She was also crying in the elevator because she didn't like being away from Zhao Fan at all. Meanwhile, when Zhao Fan is coming near the room with medicine, he hears Jia from outside saying to his mom, Zhou Xiao must have gotten scared of your mental disease, and that's why she broke up. But just then, Zhao Fan quickly comes inside and explains to mom, my breakup happened because of my own reasons. It's not your fault. But mom starts having panic attacks again, and she repeatedly asks for his dad to be called there. Then we see Kai Yasi, who had brought Zhou Xiao for a walk to cheer her up, but that place was closed for 3 days. Kai Yasi calls the head there and requests him to open the place for a little while. The head agrees to this, and then both of them go there for a walk. Zhou Xiao asks him, do you like me? So Kai Yasi lies because he didn't want to create any awkward moment between them, and he didn't want to spoil their friendship either. On the other hand, Zhao Fan and his dad find out from the doctor that his mom's condition is very serious. They will have to take her to Beijing again for treatment. Hearing this, Zhao Fan decides, I will leave the university. Here, Kai Yasi and Zhou Xiao are cleaning the library when Kai Yasi, joking with her, blocks her in the same place where Zhao Fan had proposed to her. When Zhou Xiao is trying to open the gate, she remembers all that, which makes her very upset, and she leaves from there. Meanwhile, Zhao Fan comes to the university to get his suspension letter signed, and he meets Professor Hu for the last time, and he tells them everything about his mom's condition and says, after my mom gets well, I will come back here and be your assistant. To this, Professor Hu says, I will also wait for you. Then, when Zhou Xiao comes for lunch with Kai Yasi, her friend tells her, Zhao Fan is leaving the university. She feels very bad hearing this, but she doesn't show it in front of her friends. To cheer her up, Kai Yasi also buys her ice cream. When he leaves for for his class, Zhou Xiao is alone again and sits thinking about Zhao Fan. She was missing him a lot. Meanwhile, Zhao Fan was also missing her a lot. Then he leaves for Beijing with his mom and dad. A lot of time passes like this. Then we see that Zhao Fan's mom has started to recover slowly. When he goes to get ice cream for his mom, he finds out from social media that Zhou Xiao's novel has been published. Just then, a little girl bumps into him who was reading a detective novel just like Zhou Xiao. Zhao Fan also gives the girl an ice cream treat and reads that novel to her. On the other hand, we see Zhou Xiao in the library who was buying her own book there. Just then, she sees Kayasi, who was buying all her books. She asks him, "Why are you doing this?" So he says, "I just wanted to increase the sales of your books." But Zhou Xiao tells him, "Don't do that." Then these two sit together and watch people to see who is buying her book and who is not. But that day, not a single one of her books is sold. Then, the scene shifts to Zhao Fan, who had come there and was secretly watching Zhou Xiao. Just then, he sees that Zhou Xiao is very happy with Kayasi. Seeing this, he starts to leave from there. After this, he comes back to his mom. The next day, Zhao Fan's mom was about to be discharged from there, so they were packing their things. Just then, Dad finds Zhao Fan's real genetic reports there, from which he finds out, "I have no disorder at all." Knowing this, he gets very angry at Jia. "Because of her, I had to break up with Zhou Xiao," he thinks. Then he calls Jia and asks about this, so she says, "I did this so that you could stay away from Zhou Xiao." But now, Zhao Fan had found out the whole truth. He rejoins the university, where he first comes to Zhou Xiao's hostel, but it was raining a lot there, so he starts to leave. Just then, he sees that Zhou Xiao had come out to throw garbage in the dustbin and was going to put the garbage in the dustbin while getting wet in the rain. Just then, he comes to her and covers her with an umbrella. When Zhou Xiao sees him, she is very shocked, and she leaves from there without speaking to him. Then Zhao Fan comes to his room and meets his friend. The next day, we see that Kayasi and Zhou Xiao are preparing for the exhibition. Just then, Zhao Fan comes there. Seeing him, Zhou Xiao leaves from there, so he also starts following her. And he tells her, "Jia gave me the wrong report. I broke up with you only to keep you away from all these things." But hearing this, Zhou Xiao gets very angry and says, "If there was something like this, you could have talked to me about it, but you left without saying anything, and I always kept feeling that I was the reason for our breakup." Saying all this, Zhou Xiao leaves from there. Then Zhao Fan comes to meet Professor Hu, who tells him, "You already liked Zhou Xiao a lot, so you should try to win her back again." Zhou Yao is working in the library, so Zhao Fan comes there and starts helping her, and he arranges some books together and writes sorry with their first letters. Zhou Xiao sees it, but she reacts in front of him as if she hasn't seen anything, and she leaves him there and goes away. Just then, an earthquake happens there and everyone starts running here and there. In the meantime, Sayasi saves Zhou Xiao from there and brings her out. Inside, Zhao Fan was looking for Zhou Xiao everywhere. Coming out, Zhou Xiao finds out that Zhao Fan is still inside, so she goes back inside to save him, and Kayasi follows her right behind. There, she finds Zhao Fan, and just as she was about to approach him, something was about to fall on her. Just then, Zhao Fan saves her, but he got a severe injury on his waist. Then these two come out. After a little while, Kayasi also comes out behind them, and seeing them together, he hides the injury on his hand. Then, Zhou Xiao starts to take Zhao Fan to the hospital to treat his injury, and poor Kayasi goes to the hospital alone with his injury because no one was paying attention to him. After Zhao Fan's treatment in the hospital, Zhou Xiao helps him put on his shirt. At night, due to the earthquake, they all have to sleep in the playground. Zhou Xiao messages Kayasi and asks, "Where are you?" Kayasi explains, "I am in a safe place, and I will sleep there tonight." But actually, he was sitting on the roadside. He had a very bad injury on his hand. The next morning, Zhao Fan's mom calls Zhou Xiao and says, "Come over for dinner," for which she agrees. When Zhou Xiao goes to their house, where first Zhao Fan's mom plays a game with her. Just then, Zhao Fan arrives. He didn't know that Zhou Xiao was there. That's why mom starts acting in front of Zhou Xiao and says, "If you want, you can send Zhao Fan out from here." But she refuses to do so. Just then, Zhao Fan's dad also comes there, who sees that Zhao Fan is blushing a lot. Mom says he is doing so because Zhou Xiao is standing in front of him. Hearing this, Dad checks Zhao Fan's temperature and finds out that he actually has a fever because he had an injury on his back. Hearing which, Mom asks him about the injury. So Zhou Xiao has to tell them, "Zhao Fan got that injury while saving me." At this, Mom says, "He worries about you so much that he saved you without worrying about himself." Dad brings medicine for Zhao Fan. So Mom starts acting again here and lies, saying, "Oh, this medicine is expired." Then they leave from there to get another medicine, and they lock both of them outside from there, so that these two can spend time together and clear their misunderstanding. Then, taking advantage of the opportunity, Zhao Fan pretends to faint so Zhou Xiao supports him. Even after a long time, when Mom and Dad don't come with the medicine, Zhou Xiao starts to go to get the medicine herself. So Zhao Fan also follows her. But when these two come to the door, it doesn't open because it was locked from the outside. so they both decide to eat. Zhao Fan quickly sits down happily. Seeing him, Zhou Xiao thinks, why is he not in pain now? Both were enjoying dinner together, but Zhao Fan was constantly staring at her. Seeing which, Zhou Xiao leaves her food and starts watching TV, where her eyes also fall on the medicine, and she finds out that the medicine is not expired. She asks Zhao Fan about this, so he says, I also don't know anything about this. He had a fever, so Zhou Xiao tells him, go to sleep. When he is sleeping, Zhou Xiao comes and sits next to him and starts thinking, should I forgive Zhao Fan or not? Just then, he wakes up and hugs her from behind and says, I will not make any mistake again. Then, Zhou Xiao also agrees. Just then, Zhou Xiao gets a call from her friend who calls her to meet, but they were both locked. Because of this, she couldn't go. Just then, Zhao Fan tells her, I can also unlock my door with my phone. Then Zhou Xiao comes back from there. The next morning, Zhao Fan takes her to the amusement park. Just then, they meet Professor Hu on the way. So Zhou Xiao asks them to come with her too, but Professor Hu refuses to come with them. Then these two get the job of cleaning the lab. Here, Zhou Xiao tells him, I am still scared that you might break up with me again. That's why I stay away from you. To this, Zhao Fan says, I will improve myself and marry you. Hearing which, Zhou Xiao is completely shocked and starts to leave from there. So Zhao Fan stops her and asks for an answer to this. So Zhou Xiao says, we are about to graduate now, and then for work we might have to go to different cities. To this he says, I will apply for a job where you are, and then when we both are settled, we will get married. Hearing such a long plan, Zhou Xiao shuts him up and says, yes, I trust you, and for that, she also kisses him. The next day was their last day at the university. Everyone was getting ready for the graduation ceremony. A friend of Zhao Fan's meets Kai Yasi because he needed help to propose to his girlfriend on stage. Just then, Zhou Xiao's parents also come there, who tell Kai Yasi, your parents won't be able to come here today. Hearing this, Kai Yasi gets a little upset because he had been waiting for his parents for a long time. And here, Kai Yasi tells them that Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan are back together because they thought they had broken up. Here, Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao are clicking their photos. Zhao Fan's mom is also here. Just then, Zhou Xiao's parents arrive, and they were very angry with Zhou Xiao because she had not told them about the graduation ceremony. Then, Zhou Xiao's dad talks to her alone. He didn't want her to date Zhao Fan again, because when they broke up, she cried a lot in her room, and her dad knew this very well. So he didn't want anyone to hurt her again. She tells this to Zhao Fan as well and says, Dad will never accept our relationship now. Meanwhile, during the graduation ceremony, Kai Yasi hacks the screen for a friend of his and helps him so that he can propose to his girlfriend in front of everyone. But just then, security guards arrive, so Kai Yasi has to run from there. After this, Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan go to say sorry to Dad. Here, Zhao Fan's mom had told her dad everything. Dad also agrees to their relationship. After this, they all celebrate their last day together and are very happy. Then, we are shown a scene from much later, where Zhao Fan and Zhou Xiao are together, and their wedding was to take place in 3 days. For that, they first invite Kai Yasi. Kai Yasi had now become the CEO of a very big company. He accepts their marriage invitation, but he was still single. The scene now shifts directly to the wedding day, where their family members and university friends had come. Then Zhou Xiao comes there with her dad, and Dad gives her hand into Zhao Fan's hand. Here, Zhao Fan kisses her. Then Zhou Xiao throws the bouquet, which Ling Tao catches, and says, I don't want to get married so soon. Outside the marriage hall, we also see Jia, who was happy to see Zhao Fan settled. Then they all dance together and enjoy a lot. Then in the last scene, we see Zhou Xiao and Zhao Fan, who had drunk a lot. And right here, after a kiss between these two, this drama has a happy ending.